Stephen A., what was your take on what happened last night between Howard and Kobe?
Well, first of all, I think Byron Scott is absolutely right. They don't particularly like each other, even though Kobe Bryant will deny that because he doesn't want to give any credence to it whatsoever. And the word like may not be the appropriate word. I just think the heightened level of respect that Kobe has had for some of the dominant big men that have ever played in this game. He doesn't view Dwight Howard in that category, and it's just that simple. Dwight Howard obviously is a bit sensitive to it. That's why he responded to the reporters in a very terse and cantankerous way, completely unnecessary, by the way, but it is what it is. In the end, what it comes down to is the fact that if Kobe Bryant and Dwight Howard had a better relationship, some could argue that Dwight Howard may have elected to stay in Los Angeles. As far as I'm concerned, if Jim Buss hadn't elected to hire Mike D'Antoni and instead had gone the route of Phil Jackson, I believe that Dwight Howard would have stayed in L.A. under those circumstances. But in the end, also, what it comes down to is that the Houston Rockets were a considerably better team than the Los Angeles Lakers, and then highlighted what Jim Buss has not done and what he has not allowed Mitch Kupchak to do and what the Los Angeles Lakers as a franchise have disintegrated into because they have no help. Kobe Bryant has no help. Byron Scott has no help outside of Kobe. They don't have much of a team. If you look at this roster, ladies and gentlemen, the roster stinks. They just don't have the talent around Kobe Bryant. And it's a real shame that a star like this has to be subjected to this level of mediocrity. But that's Laker Nation right now.
Before I answer the Kobe versus Dwight question that Kerry posed, I know Kerry doesn't want to hear this, but there is a sad but true about this game last night that the most interesting thing that happened was Kobe versus Dwight.
It's true.
While in the big picture, the poor Lakers lost Julius Randle, their 7th overall pick, to a broken leg 13 and a half minutes into his NBA career. This poor kid, I hope this doesn't mean the rest of his career is going to be star-crossed. God bless him in his recovery, because that's just some bad luck, news, man. Yeah. So that was the downside of this night. Kobe looked okay. I guess he looked decent for his age, and he scores 19, but they lose at home by 18 to a Houston team that I think Stephen A. and I both agree is not great. I don't think it's any threat to win the Western Conference this year. Which brings me back to Dwight. I'm completely on Kobe's side on this issue, though I wish Kobe would just let it go. Because, look, the Lakers way overpaid for the fool's gold that is always Dwight Howard. And they almost did it again because they tried to re-recruit him again. The fool's gold that is Dwight Howard. And then Houston said, we got him. We're there. We're going to win a championship with Dwight. No, you're not going to win a championship if you're building around Dwight Howard. I love James Harden, and I think he has a chance to at least be in the MVP conversation this year. But Kobe was exactly right about Dwight being soft. He is soft, and he always was soft. And Byron Scott was exactly right yesterday when he summed it up by saying Dwight never wanted to win nearly as badly as Kobe wanted to win. I mean, that's almost like a laughable statement to even put those two in the same winner's sentence. But, Stephen A., we've been over and over this before, and I know this is how Kobe views Dwight. He was blessed with so many tangibles and so few intangibles. He has such size and such strength and such athletic ability, obviously, and so little burning desire. I'm talking about Kobe burning desire to be great, to dominate in fourth quarters on both ends of the floor, to dominate from the free throw line. We've been over and over this again, and the bitterness just spills out of Kobe when they had their little clash. You're soft. And then Kobe went back to the huddle and continued to yell at Dwight or yell about Dwight because he's bitter about what Dwight wasn't. When Kobe, I think Kobe bought into the fool's gold that we got a chance with Dwight here. And you know what? You didn't have a chance with Dwight. And for Kobe's sake, I hope he can just let it go, Kobe, because it is what it wasn't.
Skip Bayless, we respectfully disagree. I think you're being very disrespectful to Dwight Howard. First of all, most people in league history don't have the will and the desire to win like a Kobe Bryant did. There's a reason that he's the only viable comparison to Michael Jordan in the modern day era because of that will to win. That's point number one. Point number two, when you talk about Dwight Howard being soft, The only thing to me that Dwight Howard has ever been done, that can be comparable or warrants him being labeled soft was when he had the ordeal in Orlando where he couldn't make up his mind. He stayed, then he wanted to go, and all of this other stuff. That was and then gave away his power to the Orlando Magic, only to force a trade thereafter. It was utterly ridiculous. It made no sense. And in regards to that, he deserved to be criticized for it. That's it. But Dwight Howard on the basketball court calling him soft, I think that's going too far. I don't see anybody pushing Dwight Howard around. I don't see anybody muscling him around. I don't see a guy that steps on the court and has been perceived by opponents as soft. His game offensively in the post area is certainly not polished. He'll never be confused with a Kareem or Kevin McHale or somebody like that. He just doesn't have the requisite skill set in the post offensively, which is why the dream Olajuwon, along with Kevin McHale, he wanted to go to Houston so they could work on his game because he doesn't have that kind of skill set. So if you're saying that he's not the ultimate skilled big man, and by the way, he's about 6'9.5" without his shoes. He's really not a 7-footer. But if you want to knock him, I say knock him because his game is limited offensively as a post player. He still has to develop that. But to sit there and accuse Dwight Howard of being soft, yeah, Kobe can say that because Kobe and his will to win, being a 5-time champion, going at it the way that he does, and having the animosity that he has for Dwight Howard, that would be different. Even though when Dwight Howard was in L.A., he was still playing with a bad back. Let us not forget that. But to sit there and have us, you, me, or anybody else call Dwight Howard soft, I can't go with that. Okay.